Now, in other news, the Burgess family actually nearly made history Saturday night as the first mother and daughter to compete against each other in an ARCA-sanctioned race. And I'm trying to think if that's ever happened in NASCAR either. I know Mike Wallace raced against his daughter Chrissy in Talladega in the Truck Series in 2009. That's the only thing I can think of that comes close to what the Burgess family nearly did. And I say nearly because Bridget's mother, Sarah, was initially added to the entry list as a late entry and even qualified in a car, but she withdrew just before the green flag. And we'll have more on this story on Thursday's Women in Motorsports show. Schedule pending, I may even be joining Joe and Daniel on that to discuss this subject. So we'll see. Hopefully everything works out there. But this is something that the Burgess family has been working towards for a long time. But that history-making moment is going to have to wait just a little bit longer. Maybe when the series comes back to Irwindale in July, or maybe sooner than that. We'll wait for more news on that front.
Yeah, now, really cool stuff. And that's going to make the Women in Motorsports a must-see if you're going to be making an appearance on there.
I know quite often we talk about father and sons racing each other, but mother and daughter, as far as we know, it hasn't happened this kind of level. Can you tell us more about Sarah Burgess and at the end what caused her to miss, unfortunately, this historic moment and postpone for a later race?
Well, first of all, Joe, thank you for having me, and Daniel as well. I know we were on the Indy 500 pre-race show last year, but it's good to see you again here. Sarah and Bridget are originally from Australia, and Sarah is an extensive off-road racer. She has a career in that, and she came to the United States in 2008 along with Bridget because they thought there would be more opportunities for Bridget to start her career here in the States rather than back home in Australia. And Bridget also grew up racing off-road, but similarly actually to what Haley Deegan's done. Deegan grew up in off-road as well a little bit before she made the transition to stock cars, and that's what Bridget's done. She's now in her third year in the ARCA Series West. As you can see on that graphic, she's had a handful of top 10 finishes and some strong runs here and there, particularly on the road courses. But Sarah has been wanting to do this for a while. You know, she has really been the main person involved with obviously helping start Bridget's career and is the crew chief, the team owner. And on some race weekends, there was even an ARCA article that ran a couple of off seasons ago that talked about how sometimes she's the entire pit crew. You know, they don't do live pit stops. They have segment breaks, and you'll see teams like Bill McAnally Racing, Sunrise Ford Racing have 10 or 12 pit crew members hopping over the wall for each of their 2 or 3 or 4 cars. And Bridget's mother is changing all 4 of her tires by herself. You know, it's a very small family operation that does a lot with a little. Now, everybody was very excited at Irwindale on Saturday because on Friday night, Sarah actually got to run a couple of test laps. And on Saturday, she was added to the entry list in one of Sebastian Arias's backup cars that was renumbered from the 4 to the 04. And she even made a qualification lap, and we were all set to see this historic moment. And then, unfortunately, I think it was only like an hour or so before the race, Sarah's entry was withdrawn. Now, Sarah actually posted a tweet that said, slight change of plans. We're going to have some news coming soon. I don't know exactly what caused that withdrawal to happen. My guess here, and this is only speculation on my part, I don't have any insider info or anything, but I'm almost positive it would have been a start and park for Sarah Burgess. And I've got to think that Sarah probably would not have wanted that to be the moment where history was made. She probably doesn't want to just say, well, we start and parked and ran a couple laps and pulled it in, but we made history and got it done. You know, she wants to, when she says she wants to race Bridget, she actually wants to compete against her daughter on track. And I can only think that maybe she wanted to wait for a better time and place to have that special moment with Bridget than just running a couple laps and saying they did it for the sake of the record books. It actually did get a little confusing because Racing Reference, because Sarah did make a qualification attempt, right now they have her listed in 16th place with a last place finish. So when I was putting my article together this weekend for Brock Beard and LastCar, there was kind of a dispute as to whether it was Sarah or Paul Petroncelli that I'd be writing on. But Charlie Krall actually posted a tweet saying that Sarah's going to be credited with 3 championship points because she did make a qualification attempt, but she doesn't get credit for a series start because the entry was withdrawn before the green flag. So expect that moment to happen later this season. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Seeing what Bridget is doing, how impressive is it to see this family just week in and week out racing?
It is a fraction of the budget that you see of a team like Bill McAnally Racing. And as I mentioned, McAnally even was able to step in and help them a little bit during the 2020 season to kind of find their footing after COVID hit and establish Bridget's rookie season and give them the opportunity to run there. It was very disappointing because I mentioned the Burgesses are originally from Australia, but now they live in Utah. It's about 6 miles from Utah Motorsports campus. And the first race after the pandemic break in 2020 was a doubleheader there. And unfortunately, the Burgesses couldn't get their equipment together in time to run that race. And we know Bridget's very good on the road courses. She ran as high as 5th last year in Sonoma before she finished 8th, and ran as high as 4th when you were there, Joe, in Portland. So, I don't know if the series ever goes back to Utah. Bridget would certainly have a lot of experience on that track from her testing and everything that she does there. But it is great to see how far they've come and that they've continued to grow. And now they do have a second car in their shop, and I'm sure we will see Sarah bring that car out at some point this season.